So hello everyone. Today we are going to study the topic that is pleura. Okay, pleura. And before we go on ahead with the topic, let us see the development of pleura. How is the development of pleura? Okay. Now this what I am drawing is the body cavity. Body cavity initially. Now this body cavity afterwards gets divided into two parts. This is the pericardial cavity. This is the pericardial cavity, and this is the peritoneal cavity. This is the peritoneal cavity. And this is pericardio peritoneal canals. Pericardio peritoneal canals. And it is from this pericardio peritoneal canals that the pleura develops. Okay, the pleura develops from the pleura develops from this, and this connection afterwards gets cut off by pleuroperitoneal membranes, which contribute to formation of diaphragm. Now what happens is, as we have discussed, that the lungs develop from foregut. Foregut, there is a laryngotracheal diverticulum, and this laryngotracheal diverticulum, it is somewhere from this foregut this comes, and then there are two lung buds, laryngotracheal diverticulum, and these two lung buds, they are formed here. So now we have a scenario where the trachea divides, and now the two lung buds develop, and on the side of the lung buds are this pericardio-peritoneal canals. Pericardio-peritoneal canals. Pericardio-peritoneal canals are there on the side. Now the lung will invaginate into both of them in such a way that this is the trachea, these are the two lung buds, and now they have started invaginating into it. Okay, now the invagination has started. Okay, so this is lung, and this is the pleural cavity. Pleural cavity. As we go ahead, the invagination becomes complete. The invagination becomes complete. Okay, and this pleura, which is attached to the lung, is the visceral pleura, and this, which is attached to the body wall, is the parietal pleura. It is the parietal pleura. Okay, so pleura is parietal and visceral. Parietal pleura develops from somatopleuric mesoderm. Somatopleuric mesoderm. While visceral pleura develops from splanchnopluric mesoderm. Okay, splanchnopluric mesoderm. Parietal pleura is attached to thoracic wall from inside. This is attached to the lungs. Attached to lungs. This is sensitive to pain. while visceral pleura will be sensitive to stretching. Sensitive to stretching. Okay. The parietal pleura will have same arterial supply and same nerve supply as thoracic wall. So all the internal thoracic artery, musculophrenic artery, while this will be supplied by sympathetic nerve, sympathetic parasympathetic nerve, the visceral pleura. The visceral pleura is also called as pulmonary pleura. Is also called as pulmonary pleura. Now let us see the different parts, the different parts, the different parts of the parietal pleura. The different parts of the parietal pleura. Okay. Now suppose this is the lung. Lung is there inside. And covering the lung is the uh, visceral pleura. This is the pleural cavity in between, and this is the parietal pleura. This is parietal pleura, and this is visceral pleura. Okay. So parietal pleura, which is there on the outer side, this part, this is called as the costal pleura. Then part which goes above the clavicle covering the apex, is called as the cervical pleura. The part which is there on the medial side, it is the mediastinal pleura. It is the mediastinal pleura. And lower part which comes in the contact with diaphragm is the diaphragmatic pleura. Diaphragmatic pleura. So parietal pleura has 4 parts: cervical, costal, mediastinal, and diaphragmatic. Mediastinal and diaphragmatic. Okay. And the visceral pleura is also called as pulmonary pleura. It covers the lungs and the fissures of the lungs and fissures of the lung. Now you have to understand one more concept, and that is pulmonary ligament. Pulmonary ligament. What is pulmonary ligament? Now the parietal pleura and the visceral pleura, they are continuous at the hilum. Okay. But parietal, suppose this is the hilum of the lung. Now parietal pleura, after covering it, it goes down beyond the root. It's a fold. So this is the hilum of the lung, and the parietal pleura goes down below. After covering the hilum, it goes down below, and this is the pulmonary ligament. Now what this pulmonary ligament is for? It provides a dead space. One thing is it provides a space for hilum to descend, because every time we breathe, okay, the lung expands. So this provides the space for the hilum to descend, okay, for hilum to descend. And also it provides a dead space for during, and which can be used during increased venous return from, okay, it can be used during the increased venous return, especially during exercise. Okay, so during exercise, this can be used. Now we go on to the next topic in the pleura, and which is the recesses. The recesses of the pleura. Recesses of the pleura. What are the recesses? Recess means the space. Okay, recess means the space. So there are two recesses. There are two recesses in the pleura. Costomediastinal recess. I will draw a diagram for this. Costomediastinal recess and costodiaphragmatic recess. Costomediastinal recess and costodiaphragmatic recess. Now, what is costomediastinal recess? Now, we all know, if we see a transverse section of the lung, the transverse section of the lung is something like this. And this is the visceral pleura which is covering the lung. And the parietal pleura goes like this. So here we see this costomediastinal recess. Costomediastinal recess. So this is the extra space. This is the extra space in the transverse section. This is anterior and this is posterior. This is medial and this is lateral. So on the mediastinal side, on the medial side, behind the sternum. So here will be sternum, here will be the ribs. Here will be the ribs. So both the lungs, the lungs are here like this, covered by the visceral pleura. Both the lungs, they show this costomediastinal recess. So whenever we do exercise, the lungs have this extra space to expand, costomediastinal recess. So what is costodiaphragmatic recess? Costodiaphragmatic recess, we can see more on the vertical aspect. So this is the visceral pleura covering the lung. Okay, and parietal pleura goes down near the base. Okay, goes down. So this is costodiaphragmatic recess. Costodiaphragmatic recess. So this also provides a space where a lung can expand. So this also provides a space where lung can expand. Okay. So this is the costodiaphragmatic recess. Costodiaphragmatic recess. Okay. So this is about the recesses of the lung, costomediastinal recess and costodiaphragmatic recess. Now coming to the nerve supply and the blood supply of the pleura. As we discussed earlier, as regards the nerve supply of the pleura is concerned, the parietal pleura is supplied by the intercostal nerves, by the phrenic nerves, the somatic nerve. Okay, so parietal pleura has four parts: the costal pleura, okay, then mediastinal pleura, then diaphragmatic pleura, then cervical pleura. Okay, so the costal pleura will be supplied by intercostal nerve. The mediastinal pleura will be supplied by phrenic nerve. Will be supplied by phrenic nerve. The diaphragmatic pleura, its central part will be supplied by phrenic nerve, and peripheral part will be supplied by intercostal nerve. Supplied by the intercostal nerve. While the cervical pleura will be also supplied by the intercostal nerve. It will be also supplied by the intercostal nerve. Now, if we see the nerve supply of the pulmonary pleura, this was of the parietal pleura. Now, pulmonary pleura, it is supplied by the sympathetic nerve. It is supplied by the sympathetic nerve. Okay. Sympathetic nerves derived from second to fifth thoracic spinal nerve. And parasympathetic is from vagus. Now let us check the blood supply of the pleura. The parietal pleura is supplied by intercostal arteries, the anterior intercostal arteries, posterior intercostal arteries. Then it is supplied by internal thoracic artery and musculophrenic artery. And the veins for the parietal pleura will drain mostly into the internal thoracic veins and azygous vein. This parietal pleura is attached to the thoracic wall from the inner side by an endothoracic fascia. Okay, and the lymphatics, they will drain into intercostal, the anterior intercostal, internal mammary. The lymphatics, they will drain into the intercostal, then internal mammary, then mediastinal, okay, posterior mediastinal lymph nodes. So these are the various lymph nodes: posterior mediastinal lymph nodes, diaphragmatic lymph nodes. Okay, diaphragmatic lymph node. So that's how blood supply, venous drainage, and lymphatic drainage of the parietal pleura is concerned. As regards the pulmonary pleura, is concerned, the pulmonary pleura is supplied by arterial supplies by bronchial arteries. Now this can come as a MCQ. It is supplied by bronchial arteries, and its venous drainage is bronchial veins. And the lymphatic drainage is into bronchopulmonary lymph nodes. So parietal pleura is supplied by bronchial artery. Now coming to the last point, and that is the applied anatomy of the pleura. Now, normally there is a very thin layer of fluid inside the pleural cavity, and there is negative intrathoracic pressure. You must have studied this in physiology. And uh, but sometimes the pleura will get inflamed, and that is called as pleurisy, inflammation of pleura. Inflammation of pleura is called as pleurisy. Okay. Then pneumothorax. Pneumothorax is when there is presence of air in the pleural cavity. Air in the pleural cavity is pneumothorax. Hemothorax is blood in the pleural cavity. When there is blood in the pleural cavity. Then hydropneumothorax. Hydropneumothorax, when there is both fluid and air. And empyema. Empyema is when there is presence of pus in the pleural cavity. That is called as empyema. Another applied anatomy point you have to write is that whenever we want to aspire any of this pus or fluid for testing, we do it in the normally we do it in the 8 aspiration is done in the 8 intercostal space. 8 intercostal space in mid axillary line. 8 intercostal space in mid axillary line, and the needle is passed in the lower part of the space, lower part of the intercostal space, so that the nerves are not damaged. Now I'll quickly revise today's topic. We started with the development of the pleura. So this is the body cavity. The body cavity, uh, the intra-embryonic coelom. This intra-embryonic coelom gets divided gets divided into pericardial cavity, peritoneal cavity, and pericardio-peritoneal canals. It is from this pericardio-peritoneal canals that the pleura develops. And here a pleuroperitoneal membrane develops, which cuts off the pleural cavity from the peritoneal cavity, and therefore this pleuroperitoneal membranes contribute to formation of diaphragm. Now here what we see, this is the trachea, and these are the lung buds, and then these are these two canals, and these two canals invaginate into pericardio-peritoneal canals. Okay, and there are two layers formed. The one forms the visceral pleura, other forms the parietal pleura. So we said that pleura is, there are two pleurae. One is attached to the lung, which is visceral pleura, develops from splanchno-pleuric mesoderm, and parietal pleura develops from somatopleuric mesoderm. One is attached to lung, one is attached to the thoracic wall by endothoracic fascia. One is sensitive to pain, one is sensitive to stretching. One has an arterial supply which is same as the thoracic wall, arterial supply, nerve supply, and lymphatic drainage. Another has the sympathetic and parasympathetic nerve supply. Sympathetic and parasympathetic nerve supply, which is the pulmonary pleura, which is the nerve supply same as that of the lung. Then we started studying the parietal pleura and how this parietal pleura has 4 parts. The upper part above the clavicle is cervical pleura. Then this is costal pleura. Then this is diaphragmatic pleura and mediastinal pleura. On medial side, there is mediastinal pleura. On inferior aspect, the pleura is called as diaphragmatic pleura. Same parietal pleura, which is on contact with the thoracic wall, is called as costal pleura and cervical pleura. While the visceral pleura is also called pulmonary pleura, which covers the lung and the fissures. Then we came to the concept of pulmonary ligament. The parietal pleura, after covering the hilum, goes down little bit and creates a dead space called as pulmonary ligament, where the hilum can descend during the descent of the lungs. This also provides a dead space during increased venous rhythm. Then we said there are two recesses in the pleura. The costomediastinal recess, which is seen in the horizontal, the costomediastinal recess, which is seen in the horizontal section anteriorly like this, and costodiaphragmatic recess, which we see in the coronal section. So this is on the inferior aspect and this is behind the sternum. So this provides extra spaces for lungs during for expansion, especially when the lung expands during exercise. Okay. Then we started studying the nerve supply of the pleura. The costal pleura is supplied by intercostal nerves. The mediastinal pleura is supplied by the phrenic nerve. The diaphragmatic pleura, central part is by phrenic nerve and peripheral part is by intercostal nerve. The cervical pleura is by intercostal nerve. Pulmonary pleura is supplied by sympathetic nerves, second to fifth, and parasympathetic is by vagus. The blood supply of the parietal pleura is by intercostal, internal thoracic, musculophrenic, venous drainage is by internal thoracic and azygous, lymphatic drainage is by intercostal lymph nodes, internal mammillary lymph nodes, posterior mediastinal lymph node, diaphragmatic lymph. While parietal pleura is supplied by bronchial artery. Its venous drainage is by bronchial veins and lymph node, lymphatic drainage is by bronchopulmonary lymph nodes. Now coming to the last point as regards the applied anatomy of the pleura is concerned. Pleurisy is the inflammation of the pleura. If there is air in the pleural cavity, normally there is vacuum and thin fluid layer, and there is negative pressure inside the pleural cavity. But if there is air in the pleural cavity, we call pneumothorax. If there is blood in the pleural cavity, we call it hemothorax. If there is fluid as well as air, we call this hydropneumothorax. When there is pus, we call this empyema. Whenever we want to do aspiration of any of this fluid for testing, we do it in the eighth intercostal space, in the mid-axillary line, and in the lower part of the intercostal space, because in the upper part of the intercostal space, lying just in the costal groove, is the neurovascular bundle of that space. So we don't want to get it damaged. So that's all information about the pleura. Thank you so much.